blog readers and listeners to our Friday weekly podcast series. I'm joined by my colleague Brandon Spurlock today, and we're going to be focusing on artificial intelligence and the fact that that issue has been foremost in the mind of legislatures in Washington, D.C. Brandon, welcome to our weekly podcast.
Thanks, Jerry. Always happy to be here.
Brandon, there was quite a lot of activity at the Senate Banking Committee this week with respect to artificial intelligence. It involved consumers and protection of consumers, but to me, AI is everywhere and in the news in terms of how it impacts the workplace, how it impacts consumers. What's your takeaway from what occurred in Washington, D.C. this week?
Yeah, Jerry, this topic is exploding everywhere. The changes in every sector are fast and furious as AI advances. The hearing was led by the committee's chairman, Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio. Brown opened the hearing by highlighting the positive aspects of technology for society and the financial world. When you think about things like ATM machines, providing quick access to money, smartphone apps that can access banking online and bill paying, but he also explained that automation has led to many of the financial crises that we've seen in the past 2 decades. Senator Brown stressed that any AI used in the financial sector should be utilized to make the economy better for consumers, and that there should be significant safeguards in place to ensure that it does so. His Republican counterpart, Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota, who was filling in for the committee's ranking member, he stressed the risks of AI, but took a different stance on the issues of regulation. He stated that there should be regulations regarding transparency and explainability and decision-making, especially where credit is involved, but the Congress should take a pro-innovative stance so the U.S. can attract talent, and that halting the progress of AI in the financial sector could put the U.S. at a competitive disadvantage.
It struck me that here's a great example of technology is accelerating faster than the law, and the law is trying to catch up, and government regulators thinking about the void that exists in the system about regulation. I know that the Senate committee and Senator Brown focused on fraud and antitrust concerns, but the overlay also was in the fear that artificial intelligence incorporates a bias, and that use of the artificial intelligence could have a adverse impact on protected minority groups. What's your takeaway in terms of what we're going to see in the future in this particular area?
Well, that's spot on, Jerry. Brown highlighted several AI tools that companies in the financial sector already use that have been shown to have ingrained discriminatory biases towards Black, Latino, American borrowers. Specifically, banks use algorithms and machine learning AI models in consumer lending that can determine a borrower's creditworthiness, but it often automates and then supercharges the biases that end up excluding minorities.
I know that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is dabbling in this area, also focusing on regulations, but it seems to me that this is an area that the plaintiffs' class action bar is following, and my sense is that we're going to see a tipping point soon where there are going to be private plaintiff lawsuits brought over these issues with allegations that either the use of the AI implicated antitrust or fraud concerns or discrimination, either in the employment arena in the workplace or with the extension of credit or with loans. What's your takeaway of class action risks in this area?
Well, there was a committee witness attending the hearing, Daniel Gorfine. He's founder and CEO of advisory firm Gattaca Horizons, and he's a former chief innovation officer with the CFTC. He noted the risks of AI, but stated the speculative fear or fear of future harm should not broadly block development of AI in financial services. Another witness, University of Michigan computer science and engineering professor Michael Wellman, he urged that having open knowledge on what practices can create risk will help better prepare financial systems for AI and inspire market rules and systems that remain resilient to AI's inevitable impacts. So with all this said, Jerry, there will probably be no shortage of class action lawsuits that are filed. And I think as we see how those class actions progress, We'll also see how they impact the regulatory environment. I think both are going to have impacts on one another.
Well, Brandon, you're a thought leader in this area, and we'll be closely following artificial intelligence and its implications in litigation and government regulation, and in terms of what it means to companies in the private sector. Sincerely appreciate you lending your expertise today to our podcast, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
You got it.